Kirby Ross, thank you for 10 months. And Crispy Rice PC, thank you for 13. Appreciated. Super hyped to all the new Minecraft music from yesterday. Me too, my dude. Me too. That new record 5... Dang, I feel like the whole portal theory to me was a bit of like a fan wish, you know, and I felt like it might be negative to have this portal theory embraced too strongly by the community, because it'd be very typical for people to then be like, oh, I thought we were going to get a new dimension and all that. Well, the latest record disc, Mojang must have put that together, right? And thought, this sounds like, you know, there's a portal being opened and whatnot. And if they didn't, they have set themselves up for probably a lot of like anger and disappointment later down the road. And, you know, that's not going to come from me. I'm very aware, though, there is like a vocal, a loud minority of people that get this idea in their head that, you know, Mojang owe them some sort of feature or whatever, and they get all upset about it. I can see that happening now big time. But I really don't think they could have made that track without wanting players to think about a portal. I really can't see it. Surely someone went, hey, this kind of sounds like a portal and we don't want to disappoint, you know, the player base and stuff. I am now seriously thinking that Mojang would add another dimension, okay? Before, I felt like it was a fan thing. Now I'm like, you can't put in a song like that and then not deliver a new dimension later on, right? If they don't, it'll just, people will comment about it forever. What about that track 5? Like, what about the new dimension? Where is it? You got to have the reserved excitement, says Crispy Rice. I'm at a point where, you know, there's things I'd love to put into the game and see. I'm patient. I'll wait. I'll enjoy whatever comes along. I always enjoy the development of the game. And I get to see firsthand how the community reacts to a lot of this stuff by reading my comments. And I know people like to get it in their heads that there's some sort of thing that Mojang are supposed to do, right? Like Mojang can't change their mind or make a decision one day and change it another, right? Like you still get angry comments about bundles and stuff like that. So I know that, you know, if they're not going to put in a dimension now, they've set themselves up for some community outrage, which to me, I think they're smart enough to know that they shouldn't have put that record in if there isn't a dimension. So now I'm pretty much thinking there's going to be a dimension, right? What do y'all think? One word, archaeology, says JM01. Yeah, archaeology, bundles, the Deep Dark itself got pushed back, right? And you saw some negative reaction to this. I did anyway. People were like, oh, why can't Mojang get it together? Can we get a poll for if people now think that there will be a new dimension? Just based on the record, right? Like, did the record now convince you there's going to be another dimension? Are you enjoying the conversation? If so, then hit that subscribe button and check out the other content on the channel after you're done with this one, of course. I think the record is just telling a story, says Puzzle Freck. You know, you made me think, like, getting a little too focused on the flint and steel sound. Like, it could just be someone came through a nether portal, right? And if that's what Mojang were thinking, then, well, I bet you a lot of people are going to have the same theory that I had, and they're going to hold on to that. And they're going to be screaming about, when are we going to get that dimension? It's, like, the fan demand for it is already pretty strong, and I'd be sympathetic to the pressures that a community can put on its developers. But with that record, I'm like, yeah, you're kind of setting yourselves up for it now. That's how I feel anyway. I could be wrong though. Maybe it was intentionally supposed to be a nether portal, but with all that speculation about the portal, it seems to me like surely they're setting us up. Like, we don't know what the next theme is going to be for the next update. It could just be like a whole new dimension. Just focus on one dimension, right? Put a whole bunch of stuff into it. I do think there's an opportunity to do a dimension differently. Like, if you go for a portal, right, who says the dimension has to conform to previous standards? Like, you know, a world that you can explore, or it has a certain height, or that there's blocks in it. Like, I don't know, you could do anything when you go through that portal, right? It could create some sort of mini game, momentary challenge. Like, use your imagination. You know, spin the game on its head a little bit. Just because it might be a portal to somewhere, maybe it's not even a dimension. Either way, they could do something really cool with all of that. Like, what if you went to like the Warden's homeworld or something, and you couldn't even stay there for very long, right? I've been thinking about this a lot. I was thinking about the end dimension and what I think the end dimension could do, because they've done the Nether update. They've been focusing on some biomes and overworld features. Like, the world has been treated to a lot of updates, right? And the end's been left alone for a while. I reckon what the end dimension needs is some resources. I think then, like, I was thinking Totems of Undying, right? If you nerfed raid farms, and then maybe in the end dimension, and not that this makes any sense, but maybe there's like some sort of ore or something that you can mine and then trade with a villager for Totem of Undying. And you can only get it in the end. Now, the end is kind of boring when you explore it, but you have to explore it to find end cities. So, like, why not make the terrain itself really interesting and challenging? We've seen that Mojang can make really interesting terrain now. Why not do that in the end? You know, you don't have to throw in tons of features and biomes, because the reality is you're going to go to another dimension, get what you need from it, and come back to your base in the overworld most of the time. So the end doesn't need, you know, a bunch of special treatment and biomes and stuff, but maybe what it needs is just terrain. So when you do that trip out to the end cities, like, the terrain is interesting, and then inside it, maybe there are some very difficult and challenging areas. Maybe they spawn a particular type of hostile mob. You know, think the Piglin Brute, right? So, like, maybe not a structure, but like a terrain structure. And then you go mine all the end stone, and in it you can find like a special type of it that drops these little things you can trade with the villagers and then get Totems of Undying. So, like, rather than have that item be infinite, and rather than having to go to like very risky places to get your hands on it, why not make it another type of challenge inside the end? You know, just thinking about the game like that, really. That's what I've been doing because of all this update and portal thinking. Let's have a look at the result of the poll. Will there be a new dimension? What does the chat think? 51%. Wow. Okay, so pretty neck and neck. People are split down the middle. I love the new music, by the way. Wrote a music blog about that today. It'll also go up on the music channel before long. Let's hear your theories, chat. If they do make a new dimension, I don't think it will be in this update cycle, says Aliowitch. Yeah, I don't think it's going to come in a future snapshot. It doesn't really suit the way they've done stuff before, and I don't think Mojang will like plan a big surprise, like, oh, we're going to, you know, develop the game like normal, and then right before the wild update, which has got to be around the corner now, if you think about it, with the soundtrack out. I'll have to go back and look and see how long it took between the soundtrack of the last one and it being released. But, you know, within a month, I think now you could probably expect to see the wild update. And I don't think they're just going to unleash some other big feature on us. It's Fegley here, Cheers and Bits, saying, I think it would be more interesting if instead of a portal, actually a tuning fork, which maybe you could use to resonate into a different place of the vanilla world, like a spirit world, but more like a skulk spectrum. Lets you see the invisible skulk creatures or features which exist in our overworld. We just can't see it as we're living in the wrong frequency. I don't know. I think it would fit in with the sound-based mechanics. You mean the vibration-based mechanics? That's a beautiful idea, actually. It immediately reminds me of like a mycelial network, right? Like the secret world of mushrooms. And oh, if you've never looked into that stuff, that's amazing. So mushrooms are like very deeply interconnected with lots of parts of nature. And so, you know, you'll have what you can see, like the soil and the trees and the plants, but they'll all be sort of interconnected through this mycelial web. And the mushroom and the fungus interacts with the soil and the plants in these amazing ways. And that could almost be what Skulk is like. It's the manifestation of that secret world coming into the overworld and then being able to tune into its frequency. I mean, maybe it would allow you to fast travel through the overworld to other patches of Skulk somewhere. I don't think that's what they got planned, but that's a really cool idea nonetheless. I saw a lot of hate for Lena Raine's music, talking about how it changed the vibe of Minecraft. While I do love the nostalgia of the old tracks, the new ones fit the exploration and evolution of Minecraft, says Cryptic Kid. I couldn't agree more, my dude. I'm gutted to hear that some people aren't enjoying what she's done. I mean, music is so subjective, and even one's own opinions on music can be subjective into the way you experience them. You know, you hear the right thing at the right time. Like maybe you find some new genre of metal, right? Metal? Some new genre of music, and like you binge it, and you don't get to the classics. You didn't know what the classics were, and then by the time you get to the classics, oh, I'm kind of like, I'm done on this. you know. But if someone has shown you those classics first, oh, they'd just be the best records ever, right? So yeah, if someone just showed you those records at the right time, you know, and I feel like it's going to be real easy for people to get this mindset in of like, you can't replace C418. And I don't think Lena replaces C418. I think she's got like a voice of her own. If you listen to some of her solo material, you can really hear something like unique and great. Not to say like C418, but in the same sense that C418 has a unique voice. And the music that she composed so far, it really fits in well, I think. It doesn't try to recreate what C418 brought to the game, but it stands alongside those tracks really well and suits the game. And, you know, whoever's in charge of making those decisions, those are tough decisions. Bring in someone to, you know, do the job of someone else who's kind of iconic and loved by the community. They found someone to do it, that's for sure. Yeah, Skyfighter also commenting that the hate towards Lena might be fueled by the nostalgia of the previous composer. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm incredibly nostalgic for the Minecraft music. Maybe one day I'll be nostalgic for Lena's music too, when it becomes nostalgia. But her music's terrific, and I mean, haters gonna hate, right? That's what they say. So yeah, this game evolves with time. It reminds me of mods and updates and people being like, oh, this is like a mod. I see that comment every snapshot video I make, right? And I just think, well, yeah, you know, a mod adds things to the game, right? Are Mojang not allowed to add things to the game? It's just one of those kind of like cynical perspectives. And need to get away from those things. Need to look for the love and positivity, especially in the realms of creativity, right? You know, there are time and places to be negative and have a frown and take things seriously. I don't think creative spaces are it. These are places for good vibes.
You've made it to the end of the video, so if you'd like to keep listening to my thoughts and opinions, then YouTube reckons that you might like one of these videos. So have a look at the screen, give one of them a click, and thanks for watching.